Well, joining me now, Elise Jordan, former White House and State Department aide to George W. Bush and an MSNBC political analyst, and former federal prosecutor Glenn Kirshner, an MSNBC legal analyst. I'm trying to figure out, Elise, how you even convince people to work for an election when an office has to be equipped with panic buttons and ballistic doors reinforced with steel.
Chris, that was a really eerie package from Hallie. I think about my parents who, they always volunteered as poll workers on election day, and usually the volunteers are retired and older people. And why would they want to bother with this? It's people who really care about their civic duty, who care about preserving democracy. And it's a shame that this is the level, the tenor of the conversation, that it's so nasty that we're wasting resources on bulletproof glass at polling places instead of using that money on our schools, say.
Yeah, and Glenn, the New York Times reports that Republican groups have already filed nearly 90 lawsuits challenging voting rules and practices, including a dispute over ballot errors in Pennsylvania, a challenge to Mississippi's rules on late ballots, lawsuits targeting voter rolls in Arizona and beyond. The list goes on and on. Is it clear if they will all clear by Election Day? Could they have an impact? And is this part of what we're seeing, which is having this negative effect on people's perceptions about the integrity and the safety of elections?
You know, Chris, it's hard to imagine all of these courts will work their way through the system, not only the trial court, the appellate court, and ultimately maybe the Supreme Court, which might be the goal of some of these Trump-associated groups that are filing these, some of them I would call crazy challenges to election rules. It's hard to envision them all being through the system by the time November 5 rolls around. It looks like the RNC and some of these Trump-associated groups are less concerned with turning out the vote and more concerned with turning out the lawyers. You have suits being filed in Pennsylvania, for example, challenging ballot curing, which, some people might think sounds odd or maybe even nefarious, but ballot curing just means, if a ballot is received, the mail-in ballot in advance of the election day, and it has some minor technical defect, they can reach out to the voter and have them cure that technical defect. You would think that's a good thing. Why? Because more people's votes will be counted. But, they're leveling these attacks in Pennsylvania, in Mississippi, in Illinois, and many of these cases, Chris, right now are in federal appeals court. So I have to wonder, is the Republican goal really to get these things bubbled up to the Supreme Court in hopes that maybe some Supreme Court justices will perhaps try to do Donald Trump another favor? I mean, over and beyond, presidential immunity, over and beyond saying the 14th Amendment's disqualification of insurrectionists don't count when it comes to Donald Trump, even though he's an adjudicated insurrectionist in both a trial court and a state Supreme Court. You have to wonder what the real goal is of these many attacks that are being leveled by these Republican organizations.
So, Elise, I want you to take a listen to what J.D. Vance said when he was asked about election integrity efforts.
Part of the reason that people are skeptical of our elections is, frankly, a lot of national policymakers not doing their job. There are a lot of poll workers out there that are working hard to keep our elections safe and secure. We ought to say thank you to these folks, but we also ought to recognize that their federal government, led by Kamala Harris, seems to want to make it easier for illegal aliens to vote.
Okay, first of all, if you're illegal, you can't vote. But do you think that kind of language contributes to this heightened political and, frankly, safety environment?
Well, no, to Glenn's point, I think this is less a legal strategy than a purely political strategy. They are flooding the zone right now, just in the way that Donald Trump floods the zone with interviews talking nonsense and about God knows what at any given moment. So crazy that you forget it the next day, right? The public writ large. That's the idea with these strategies, is to flood the zone with so many lawsuits, so much chaos, that Americans are left not feeling that their election is actually free and fair.